Today I'm going to use the SCHF17, which is a Schrade SCHF17. Got a Tanto blade, which means this kind of design here, which Tanto is really good for stabbing. I'm not going to use it for stabbing though, I'm going to use it for cutting. Really heavy blade, very thick. I won't say it's really heavy, but you know, it's substantial. Got a rubber handle there, some really sharp jimping. Little slot there. I think that's just a design thing. I don't know, it could be like a blood groove type. You know, maybe it gives some strength to the blade, I'm not sure. Good solid thing. I've used it around the house for a while. I had it for a long time. Like I said, I've used it, you know, various things around the house. I'm going to use it for a little debranching today just to kind of show you what it's capable of. The design is pretty cool here, the way it kind of crooks out like that. A lot of knives have that these days, but I like it a lot. So typically what I do when I get some branches that I'm going to debranch, I got a pile over here that I keep the small stuff, and I use it in the rocket stove and just kind of let it mulch out, you know, let it kind of compost. But the first thing I do is just break stuff, you know. I mean, why use your knife when you can just break it? Just get into the habit of breaking it. Unless, of course, you're just romantic and you want to use it. You know, so before I even try to cut stuff, I just break it. I mean, I'm pretty practical when it comes to that kind of stuff. Some stuff you may not be able to break, though. Some stuff you'll need a little something to cut with. And most of the time, I will bring out my saw and do it with a saw, because I like to keep larger pieces like this and set them over to the side, and possibly use them for some craft ideas. Smaller stuff, you know, I want to break up as small as possible, so it'll, you know, break down faster, naturally. Sometimes you reach a fork that's pretty substantial, and, you know, I don't get rid of the fork. I use it for, you know, possibility of slingshot, or if it's at the top of a long stick, it can make a good, well, somebody called it a snake stick once, you know, because it has a fork in it. You could hold a snake head down with it. But see, something like this, you know, I'd probably want to cut it about right here. So that's what we're going to do. You're not going to be able to see this, are you? Well, I'm not going to move the whole thing, so you just have to trust me on this. Just break it a little and then snap it. Alright, so this I'll set over there. Break that on down. I guess I should use it so you can see it, so let me dink around with this a little bit. Now when you get little stuff like this, instead of picking each one off individually, yeah, you could use your stick, and a lot of people, or your knife, a lot of people will tell you cut one way on it. You know, I say cut whatever way works. But you can just follow your branch down. Or other people will tell you, they say, don't ever cut toward yourself. Well, they don't mess with wood very much then, because you will cut toward yourself. You just have to learn to be safe with it, you know, and to limit where your blade can go. I'm afraid this isn't showing you a whole lot about this knife. I'm sorry for that. I did want to. I mean, like I said, usually for something like this, I would have my saw out here, my little Corona folding saw. It works as well as anything. This is really good fuel for the rocket stove. Once it dries out, I mean, it's wet right now. See, something like that, make a good slingshot, right? So what we do is we cut it right here and right here. A little on the long side. Doesn't have to be precise. You know, I can always cut back on that later. But as I'm cutting on this, I'm kind of holding it this way. I get more weight forward that way than if I hold it like this. This kind of stuff, like I said, I'll toss over in a separate pile and then, you know, restack it later. I don't know if you can see. I'll try to get it to where you can see here. This is, of course, very green. We just cut these down yesterday. And you know, of course, after I'm through here, what I'll do is I'll clean the crud off of this if there is any, and then I'll strop this. I won't have to sharpen it. When you sharpen a blade, you remove steel, and the only time you ever really need to sharpen a blade is when it has a chip in it or a nick, and then you remove the steel on all around it in order to make that sharp again. You know, so when you routinely sharpen your knife on an aggregate, or sandpaper, stone, whatever, you tend to remove steel from your knife, from your blade. Most of the time, in general use, if it does not have a chip, if it does not have you know, a nick in it, then you can simply strop it or use a ceramic rod or something like that to realign that edge without removing steel. You know, why do you want to take away the steel when you paid for the blade? So why remove the steel? There's just no need for it. Sometimes when you get a knife, you want to you know, adjust the edge of the grind of the blade, the actual edge to a better grind suited for you, what you like, you know. And for me, I like a convex edge more than anything, and a convex edge is like this, you know, and it's stronger, but you know, you're not going to get anything better for dealing with wood than a what you'd see almost more as a Scandinavian grind. But you know, we're getting into all kinds of different videos there, so for another day. But it's a good knife, good solid knife, and as far as I remember, it wasn't a, you know, it's a very affordable knife. So if you need something in the camp that's about this size, it's fun, that will work for light chopping and all around task, you know, I'd say this is a good one.